This is Business Therapy, healing businesses from the inside out through communication and emotional leadership. My name is Diane Hansen, management consultant, and I am here with Christine Salvo, therapist, certified mediator, and certified hypnotist.
Good morning.
And today we have a special guest with us.
So today we have Dr. Brad Pastro. He's with Advanced Chiropractic in Carson City. And he's here to talk to us today about longevity and sole proprietorship. How to last in business over the long haul.
Welcome, Brad.
Thank you.
So, how long have you been in business?
I've been in business for 27 years.
27 years. And what was it like when you first started your practice?
I think it was scary. I had a large student debt, and it's overwhelming to start a practice from scratch. So it's certainly a lot easier now than it was 27 years ago, or easier for me.
Okay.
So,
And when you were starting your practice from scratch, what are some of the challenges you ran up against?
just getting new clients, getting new patients, getting started, making a name for yourself. So I haven't been in practice 27 years. It's a lot easier now because I'm largely referral based, but that was certainly more challenging in the beginning.
And when you're developing that name for yourself in a new business, what are some of the ways that entrepreneurs can develop that new name, especially straight out of chiropractic school?
When I started with a lot of different consultants. So I did a lot of outside marketing. I did screenings, health fairs, things like that. I've since changed my business model to be more of an inside out. So I've lowered my fees, and I reach more of my patients through direct referral, and I do some internet marketing too.
And how is that business model different from between now and day one? I mean, that's a long time to have your business. What were the pivots that you made along the way?
I have a high volume practice, and I've lowered my fees to about half of what they were in the early 90s. And I think one of the struggles with healthcare has been making it affordable for people.
Mm-hmm.
And so I've sort of followed that model, make it affordable for everybody, offer a great service at a reasonable price, and it seems to work well.
So that's really quite unique. How did you come up with that? A lot of people wouldn't necessarily take the risk of offering it at a lower price for the high quality still.
That's an interesting question. I don't really, I do recall when it came to me. I was meditating, to be honest.
Great.
And and I was kind of going through a tough time, and I believe that when we get those innate flashes or that internal wisdom, that it's usually right.
Mm-hmm.
And so I followed the messages that I got, and I lowered my fees and shortened my hours, and I provide services starting at 6 o'clock in the morning, and I go till 6 o'clock at night. So I tried to think outside the box, and those messages came to me, and that's how I adjusted my practice.
So did you just say less hours and less cost?
Right.
Okay. And that's something that's very unique, because normally when you're dropping down capacity wise, so are you the only chiropractor in your practice?
I am.
You are. Okay. So how are you maximizing that revenue without maxing out your hours? It sounds like are you performing chiropractic for a 12-hour day every day, book full?
No, I work 6 hours a day, 3 days a week. And I spend a lot of time the first couple visits educating my patients. So the time given, it only takes roughly a minute to give a good chiropractic adjustment. If you've done a good analysis and x-ray of everybody in the beginning. So I'm able to see a lot of people in a short amount of time. And I don't do appointments. So I have an open book, and I modeled my practice after what would work for me. So if you tell me I have to be somewhere at 4 o'clock, I'm probably not going to be there. But if you tell me I have to be there between noon and 5, I'll show up. So I have people, it's a practice model that seems to work for a lot of people, and they enjoy it.
So you're doing speed chiropractic.
Well, I see a lot of people in a short amount of time. And like I tell my patients, I love my patients. I love my kids a little bit more. I have 6 children. And so if you watch me adjust them, it takes me less than 30 seconds to adjust them. So It
Wow.
doesn't take a long time, but it is important that you educate the patients on what it is you're doing, the purpose of the adjustment, and what they can get from it. So I don't do any ancillary stuff. I don't sell things. I don't do foot baths. I don't do any of that stuff.
Mhm.
I just move bones and allow the body to heal as it was intended to.
Quick, simple adjustment and go.
Yes.
So when you first started, were they 1-minute adjustments?
They were a little bit longer, but not a lot. I think with time comes certainty. And when I sit across my desk from a patient and I know what they need, and I've gone through scripts, and now I just come from my heart and I tell them, these are the recommendations I would give to my mother or father. This is what you need. This is what it costs, and it's simple. So it's very simple, and it's easy for them to buy into it, and they get it, and it seems to work well.
I like this because I'm a big proponent of something I call most get least sweat. So optimizing the business and customizing, doing mass customization for the client in order to achieve maximum results in a little bit of time. It's why as a consultant I do retainer work, is your outcomes based versus how much time you spend. I think one thing that we get trained as employees to do is how much am I making per hour for this thing? And it's a real paradigm shift to say, what results am I delivering and how much value can I deliver in a shorter period of time and see more? And that way you don't have to charge as much. You can see more people and you can provide that value.
Right.
So is there a way that you keep in conversation with your patients after you see them? See if you see someone for 2 minutes, is a way you stay in conversation with them?
I don't do patch up work, so I don't allow everybody into my practice. We don't. I make them do a year-long minimal commitment because I feel that's what's best to get the best therapeutic benefit out of chiropractic. So yeah, I get to know them very well, and most people stay after a year, and some don't, and that's okay too.
Right.
So yeah, I do orientations with them too. So I do lectures every other week, and educating my patients, I think, is probably been the biggest tool to my success.
Do you do these lectures in a group setting?
Yes.
Okay, wonderful, wonderful. And that's another strategy for the business owners and wannabe business owners who are listening this morning, is that it doesn't always have to be one to one. You can educate and build relationship on a mass level through things like workshops, newsletters. E-newsletters are a very low touch way to keep in touch with people, but allowing that one-to-one time being very meaningful and value laden while also providing value on a mass basis and developing that relationship. So what have some of the workshop topics been?
I do a basic orientation on chiropractic, and I try to answer a lot of their questions ahead of time, so they understand how long an adjustment takes. They understand why they are there for a year. They understand what it is that we're trying to accomplish. I've done community outreach lectures on fibromyalgia, kids' ear infections, attention deficit disorder, um, a number of different nutrition, number of different topics.
So for some of our listeners that maybe have never tried chiropractic, they're interested, or they've heard kind of like the rumors, the not so flattering ones. How would you kind of educate our listeners in like the elevator pitch? Why chiropractic?
Because your nervous system controls everything. The French proved that with the invention of the guillotine back in the 1800s. So if you sever the communication between the brain and the body doesn't function properly. And the nervous system controls the function of every single cell, tissue, and organ of your body. And you have roughly 30 trillion reactions per second going on that are all harmonized perfectly through the brain. So by that rationale, if you have pressure on the spinal cord or the brainstem, the body doesn't work properly. So I don't treat anything. I remove subluxations. I remove misalignments of the spine that I see by x-ray. So I don't take any credit for, and I don't take any blame for how my patients do. My job is to remove the interference, and they progress, and everybody gets better, whatever that means for them.
Right.
Oh, I like how you put that. Yeah, I like how you said I don't take the credit, but I also don't take the blame.
Right.
You
That's
know,
pretty
it's
important.
almost applying a consulting model to healthcare in a way, because as a consultant, you don't take the credit, you don't take the blame. All you can do is guide and remove obstacles, and then they progress as they do. So I think it's very innovative and definitely an encouragement to those listening to, if you're doing business within an industry, look at ways that that industry may not be doing it right.
Absolutely.
It's not about necessarily, oh, this is what's been done for thousands of years. This is what's been done. This is what the industry is all about. Real entrepreneurs are also innovators.
Yeah.
So when you innovate the business model, you can morph into something that is actually called a business differentiator. And you have a great differentiator. Do you have any plans to add chiropractors to your firm to expand that out?
We're currently looking at a couple of different options. I don't know that I would add somebody to my firm. I may open up another office, and we're looking to add maybe some ancillary services such as stem cell therapy, which is not chiropractic. But if I brought in a medical doctor to do that, I see a value for it. I need it done in both of my shoulders. And so I've sort of been looking into that. So again, that's not chiropractic at all, but I guess it's diversifying my business model somewhat. In an area that I feel there's a big need.
Well, that kind of brings us back to how do you stay in business for 27 years, right? And then there also has to be some kind of an exit plan. So it is sounding to me like you're looking towards the future of not necessarily providing the manual chiropractic anymore, but transitioning into another way to help people.
I think I'll probably be doing it as long as I can because I truly love what I do. But I see a need for the stem cell therapy. And like I said, I'm just exploring that right now. There's a limitation to matter. And in my case, my shoulders are really feeling the wear of 30 years of adjusting. So we're looking into different options. And the model that I've developed is something that would work for me. And I think it works for a lot of people. A lot of moms are really busy, and I get construction guys at 6 o'clock in the morning. They don't want to be nailed down to an appointment. They're like, I'll come in on my way to Starbucks before I go to the job or whatever. And that seems to be a niche that nobody else is really doing, which I have other colleagues across the country that are doing it very successfully. And I would, I think that model works well.
One thing that I've seen in organizations that are very successful as well in a product line extension, which is what you're doing, is that they assure that that product line extension is also relevant to their key customer base. So have you seen in your key customer base that potential need for the stem cell extension?
Again, I'm just investigating that right now. I deal with a lot of seniors that have a lot of, arthritic older joints. I guess I'm in that category now too. So I think there certainly is, I think it's more conservative than shoulder replacement or hip replacement.
Right.
So yeah, I think there's absolutely a need for it.
Absolutely. And when doing a viability analysis of a potential product extension, that's absolutely one thing to work with. And what I like to encourage my clients to do, and since this is business therapy, I'm going to therapize you a little bit on this, is to go to your existing customer base, especially since you have them in workshops and you have their ear. And just before you spend a dime on it or find that doctor to bring into your practice, really survey them and ask them, hey, what is your feeling about stem cell therapy? Are there any biases there? Are there any pros or cons or anything you're going to have to develop education around to remove any objections or fears around it? And then ask them, okay, from that basis, would you see value? Would you see value in this, knowing that stem cell therapy does this, 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 and this? Is this something that would bring value to you? If so, how would you see using this? Would you drive to Gardnerville? So before spending a dime on any of that, and I know you are looking into it for yourself, but also as a product extension for your firm, looking at it from the research perspective, you're going to be able to determine, do I already in my hands have the market for this? And how quickly then can I convert that to revenue once I bring this doctor on? And would this doctor be in Gardnerville, or would Gardnerville be too far? and I'm going to have to look for this doctor in Reno. It's going to save you a few steps.
Right.
Yeah. Yeah. So, where I find a lot of entrepreneurs, especially entrepreneurs that have been in business a long time, is it's been very intuitive. It's been very internal. It's been very inspiration based and guidance based. But at a certain point, you can also use that base, that customer base you already have, and they're going to tell you what they're hungry for. And the moment that they tell you what they're hungry for, that's when you know that that product extension is going to be worth your time, effort, and money.
Right. Interesting.
Yeah, yeah. So, tell me about a time in your business where you've really kind of felt the crunch. I mean, that long in your business, has there been a time where you've really kind of felt the entrepreneurial roller coaster, or you felt the pinch?
I think I did probably around the 10-year mark. I felt like I was getting burnt out. But there again, I was practicing even myself on more of an outside in. So I was looking for things to do to service my practice and make it grow. And I think when I got quiet and started listening and looking inside for the answers, it just got a whole lot easier. And really, I'm more passionate about chiropractic today than I was when I graduated 30 years ago. So 28 years ago.
I love that. And so for our listeners this morning, we're thinking, wow, I wish I could live in that flow. I'm kind of riding the entrepreneurial roller coaster right now. I'm riding the career roller coaster right now. How would you recommend to them that they get to that quietness and find time for it?
I think if you've got to find out what your purpose is, and I'm very clear on chiropractic, and I know that everybody needs it. Everybody needs it forever, and I've seen a lot of miracles. But even if you're selling widgets or whatever it is, if you see a need for it and you have a purpose behind it, then I think you use that as the fuel for your fire.
I like that.
A little bit more about your maybe spiritual practices. You've kind of brought it up a couple times, and I'm guessing my listeners are just as curious as I am. So have you always been spiritual based, or is it a newer thing? And when did you start meditating, and how often, and what's the trick with that?
That's interesting. I do a walking meditation. So I love motorcycles, and that really is my quiet time when I'm on two wheels. I ski a lot, I hunt, and so there's different things for me that feed my soul. I don't necessarily sit in a corner cross-legged and meditate, although I do get quiet. And so to me, the answers are always from within when it's quiet. So, and I know that sounds kind of weird writing a heart.
No, my best ideas come to me in the shower.
Yeah.
I'm in the shower, I'm quiet, or I'm jamming out to whatever music I have on, and all of a sudden, the idea just drops in because I'm not trying.
And that idea is always right. For me, anyway.
So when you're on your motorcycle and it's loud externally, something else happens internally?
Absolutely. Yeah.
I like how you said it's not just about sitting down, because a lot of the general thought around meditation is, oh, I have to sit, I have to get quiet, oh, I can't stay still, oh, my brain won't shut up. But the idea of doing something that brings you joy and brings you that peace, and allowing that just peace space to drop in the idea.
Right.
That's really unique. And I know that I have several activities that when I'm really in that flow, showering is one of them, but it's just this drop. And how would someone discover kind of what their meditative activity is?
Yeah, I like that. And also, like, how do you decipher the voice with the chatter? So, we all have internal chatter, but how do you know when it's the voice?
The chatter is, to me, is the ego mind.
Okay.
And so the voice is the voice within, and you can call it God or whatever you want. We all have it. And the answers to me are in the silence. So if your brain gets clearer, obviously riding a motorcycle, you have to pay really good attention, yet, you can't have anything else on your mind. So when those answers come to me in that silence.
And then you take action.
Take action.
That's
and you change your habits.
Deal.
Yeah.
That's a really big deal. I think that, so many times we'll get like divine inspiration, or we'll get this spark, or we'll get this idea, or something will happen. And then it's like, not for me. That sounds hard. I don't know. That sounds risky.
That's very true. You have to take massive action both personally and in your business. I think people pick up on that when they come in.
Yep, absolutely. And when you're coming from that heart-centered space, people can really tell that you're coming from a different spot than I call it wallets with pigtails, you know. And I stole that from Death to Smoochie. But it's this whole mindset that your customer is your paycheck versus the service mindset, which is entirely different.
Right. So when you're working on people and you're adjusting them, you're not necessarily adding the dollars as they come in.
Never. No. In fact, what really gets me juiced up is when my office is standing room only, because I realize how many people I'm touching. So that I love taking care of families. I love having kids run around my office. That's really what gets me fired up. So if you want to find me irritated, come when it's quiet. So, where is everybody?
Where is everybody? What's going on?
Where is everybody? Hey, I love it. I love it. So I love this idea of basically planning your business along the way, because business plans become this very academic exercise for many people. They say, well, I have to do a business plan because I need to show a bank, or I have to do a business plan because I'm not clear. And what happens is they spend all this time working on their business plan and they don't actually do business. So,
Right.
have
So-
you ever written a business plan for
It's
your
all
business?
spent in preparation.
I don't think I ever have. To be honest. I mean, like I said, I practiced outside in for a long time, and once I started coming from my heart, my consultations, my reports, everything is just what it is. It's 100% authentic, and it comes with certainty and honesty, and people get that. So
Do you think that helps you stay flexible? Not necessarily having this rigid plan of like it has to go a certain way. I have to have certain
I
people in my
absolutely am
office.
flexible. And
So if it's
more
a busy day or a slow day, you're still all right.
Yeah, and I'm flexible because this stem cell thing just dropped in on me a couple days ago. And if you would have told me that a week ago, I'd be like, "You're crazy." But I see a need for it, and I think that it's, it's something that I'm going to investigate.
Right, exactly. And that's where it comes to. There is a little bit of a pause between the idea drops in and you're off to the races. And I have this tool that I use, and I call it a grass catcher list. And it's called a grass catcher because when you're mowing your lawn and you collect the clippings, you got to dump them out eventually. But if you pick up something along the way, you're like, this is interesting. I wonder how I mowed that up, and you stick it in your pocket. So it's like that. Not every idea that drops in is gold, but every idea that drops in is worth an investigation.
I like that.
And so, because if we took action on every single idea that dropped in, we would be spinning our wheels. I mean, I can't even tell you how many ideas drop in every day. And I used to be one where I'm like, ooh, that's a great idea, squirrel. And then I'd go chase this thing. And it'd be anything from an idea for a promo for myself to, oh, I could offer this and do this and do this and do this. But that pause is very powerful as well. And it's that time to let that idea drop and do the investigation and due diligence. And then if it's a business viable idea, then go. We had someone on the show a few weeks ago who was talking about the crossroads between passion and profit. And I
Right.
believe that data is right there between passion and profit. And it seems like you are both passionate and profitable.
Yes.
Wonderful. Well, thank you so much for coming on Business Therapy. Was this a valuable session for you?
Yeah, it was great. enjoyed it.
Wonderful. What was your biggest takeaway today?
My biggest takeaway, I guess, reflecting back on what I've done, I hadn't really thought of how outside in as opposed to inside out it was, and really that was kind of a large aha. And again, that silence is where the answers are. I believe.
Absolutely. Thank you so much.
Great.
All
Oh,
right.
anything that I would like to say?
Yeah.
Thanks so much for coming on. I think you were great on helping people understand the process, what it takes to be in long-term business, and also sharing your passion for chiropractic.
Thank you.
Nice.
Absolutely.
Thank you so much. This has been Business Therapy, healing businesses from the inside out through communication and emotional connection. I'm Diane Hansen, management consultant.
Christine Salvo, therapist, certified mediator, and hypnotherapist. Have a wonderful day today. Thank you so much.
Have a great day.